Okay, we're good to go.
Perfect. All right. All right, so to get started, it looks like it says to quickly summarize the case. Let's see if I got it pulled up here. So this one was a pretty long one this week. It's going to take me forever to get through it.
Yes.
Pretty much there's a company who lost one of their best senior analysts, and pretty unexpected, so they were struggling to find a replacement for him and ended up hiring a headhunter and getting a list of people that could potentially take his place, and also had one person in office that could potentially take his place as well. And then I think it leaves it up to us to decide who we think they should hire. So did you guys all have a chance to go through the whole case study?
Yeah.
It only took a couple hours, but yeah.
Right. Yeah. All right.
I don't know about you guys, but I have these kind of case studies in like 3 out of my 4 classes, and I get them mixed up sometimes.
Oh, I get them mixed up all the time. Until Bo started explaining which one this was, I had no idea because I couldn't remember which case study I read for this class.
Yeah.
Because they all look the same, so it's like, good.
Right. All right. So the first step that it asks us to do is to discuss the pros and cons in great depth for all of the candidates. So, pull mine up here because I don't have a good background on all of them off the top of my head.
It'd probably be a good place to start with the internal one. I think her name Rena.
Rena, yeah.
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 Obviously, Rena is part of the culture of the company already. She knows what's expected of her. She knows what bosses and other employees are going to do in certain situations to some degree. And it sounded like all that kind of stuff would be pretty important to the company because they focus so much on their culture. So I definitely say that's a pro for her. She understands what's expected and kind of how to act in certain situations. A con, I would say, is it really doesn't sound like she might be the most qualified to do it. Yeah, she's the junior analyst on there, but she doesn't have as much experience, it sounded like. And I mean, I guess she's kind of swimming uphill already. Upper management doesn't want her to be in there. So I think that would be a con to hiring her, is you'd be going up against direct management and doing something they didn't want you to do.
Right.
Right. Let me see.
Yeah, I feel as though I don't know, thus far, as far as we saw in the case, she hadn't been making any mistakes. I mean, she was the junior analyst before, and she had a drive to keep her position, and it sounded like she wanted to keep it, like that was her goal, to someday be a senior analyst. And I don't know, it seemed like she would have probably worked exceptionally hard to keep that spot if she was told, you can keep this till you make a mistake or something along those lines. But she didn't. What was it? She was there for maybe 2 or 3 years prior, so she was still kind of a junior because they said they liked 5 years for their seniors, I think.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't know what the difference between a star analyst is, because that's almost, I mean, that's what they call them, right, Peter?
Yeah, they
He was the
got
only
ranked
star
or
analyst.
whatever.
I don't know exactly what the difference between a star, a senior, and a junior analyst is, but it sounds like there is a pretty big difference. So I don't know. I didn't get the feeling that she was quality She wasn't not good enough, but she didn't seem like she had the capability of becoming that star analyst. But I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. She wasn't like above and beyond. She was just sort of average.
She did a good enough job, but not a overwhelmingly good job.
Yeah.
There was that one comment later on that from some of the other higher ups that
Se escucha todo el llorido, más.
they asked, when are you going to hire a real person to come in? You know, so like you can tell that they weren't quite
Yeah.
satisfied with their work.
Yeah, that's true.
Sounded like Steven was. He's like, yeah, she's doing a good enough job, but I
Yeah.
almost wonder if he just felt that way because he was trying to be nice to her.
Mixed office reviews.
Right.
Okay. Can I continue with the next candidate?
Sure.
Yeah, the next one was David Hodges or something like that. Okay, so as far as I read, it said that he was a very experienced star analyst. Pretty much he's legendary among the Wall Street stocks. And well, the pros, I think, when he goes to meet the people at the RSH company, the people notice that he has a very big list of contacts. I guess because he's been in the, you know, in this type of business for a long time. He has a lot of contacts that he can be working on, and many people has a lot of respect for him because he's been around for, I don't know how long, but pretty much everybody knows who David Hodges is.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I think well.
Hello? Hello?
Are you there, the Uber?
Looks like we might have lost him.
Man.
Well, shoot.
I think he did a good job of covering the pros, though. He obviously had a lot of experience. He knew a lot of people. He'd been around for a long time. Had experience. I think they even said he had experience in the semiconductor industry, didn't he?
Yeah, I believe so.
Hughes. So yeah, I guess downsides or cons to him is he is old, and I think they had concerns about him kind of dying out, not having the drive
Yeah.
Right.
that the younger ones would.
Yeah, they
Talked
kind
about
of
him looking exhausted at the end of the day, just like he doesn't have what it takes anymore.
they made a clear effort or a clear statement that they wanted somebody that could stay around for a long time.
Yeah,
So it just doesn't look like he can even do it now, let alone for another 15 years or something.
and then I think one of the other things that was concerning to him was the experience he had where he didn't show up. He was on vacation and wasn't reachable.
Oh, yeah.
And then he it almost, like in the interview, he just kind of laughed it off. And
Yeah, it was like, it was taken care of. I wasn't,
Right.
it was fine.
it's like, even if that was the case, you'd think in a situation like that, you'd want to treat it a little more seriously. It sounds like the job's pretty involved, like the no vacation or always being reachable. I was like, ooh,
I know. I thought that was a job I would not want.
I guess they do make $700,000 a year, though.
Yeah.
True.
They kind of compared it to being a doctor, of always being on call.
Yeah.
You know, always expected to be there when they're needed.
What kind of price do you put on your time, I guess?
Right.
Exactly.
Although I did think, like, as I was reading that, because it says he was with his family, And so
Uh-huh.
that's something I've been like hearing a lot about here at school recently is just making sure that you put your family first.
Oh,
So I was
absolutely.
wondering like just how much of it was like laziness or selfishness or how much was really just like, I think they're competent enough to handle it and my family's more important. So it really just I don't know how much was in that decision for him, but it is a possibility.
Yeah,
Right.
Part of
I'm
me,
sure.
that's true.
Yeah, I'm sure
part
for
of me,
him, it was the right decision. Like I don't think he questioned whether or not what he was doing was right. I think he believed fully that it was, but that from the company perspective, it might not have been what they were wanting.
I was
Right.
gonna say, because I mean, yeah, being at BYU Idaho, where we obviously know family is the most important thing on the earth. I don't know if Wall Street executives are gonna feel that way. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
anyway,
All
cool.
right. So let's see.
Did we skip one? Gerald
Carol. Yeah.
Baum.
Carol.
Where's she?
Gerald Baum.
Carol.
Yeah, Gerald was the guy who showed up late to the interview.
Oh yeah. Is he the one that was super like cocky and full of himself?
Yeah, no
He
one
didn't.
from his previous job liked him.
Hmm.
He didn't
But his
even
old
care that he got
clients
late.
liked him.
What was that, Uber?
I'm saying that he didn't care that he was late.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's true. He didn't apologize or anything.
Nothing.
And I remember one thing that really stood out to me was immediately when he was asked about why he was interested in the position, he started complaining, like just straight out of the gate. Oh, there's so many problems at my old job, and it's unfair. And it kind of gave this attitude like the company really owed him and was supposed to keep him entertained, where that's not how it should be.
Hmm.
Right.
And the first question that he asked to Stephen is, "How much money I'm going to earn?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He seems like he's only interested in himself and maybe not the best team player, which is someone they're really looking for. I mean,
Yeah.
he's most like he's good at what he does. It talked about how his clients were really satisfied with his work, but the people he worked with thought he was a butthole.
Yeah. One of the things it says when they were breaking down the interview that happened said that a lot of times frequent job changes, which is what he was doing, can mean
Uh-huh.
that a person cares more about landing the best compensation rather than anything else.
Yeah.
And so I think his initial question, like you said, really made that point.
Hmm.
That's what he cares about is money.
And it sounds like he's fairly knowledgeable about the specific industry they're trying to hire for, that semiconductor industry. Because
Hmm.
in one of the rundowns they're given of him, it says that he's only been in the semiconductor industry for 18 months, but he's already ranked 11th in the analysts that cover that industry. So apparently
Yeah,
that's
he's coming
pretty
up quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find it very odd that they rank analysts like that in industry. I don't know. Maybe it's normal, but I feel like I don't exactly know what a semiconductor industry is. It made me think of earthquakes or something. Like, what the heck is this?
Semiconductor is a part of the computer. It's a technology based business.
Okay.
Oh,
So
makes
that's
sense.
why it describes it as being an industry full of ups and downs and very fast paced, and and that's why it's part of that.
Hmm.
Makes sense.
Makes sense. I think I was just thinking of a seismograph or something.
All right. Should we move on to the next candidate?
Yeah.
Like Seth?
Sonia, is
Uh,
that her name?
You do
Sonia was
Sonia.
the next interview, yeah.
yeah.
So one of the things that I noticed as far as a pro for her is, I mean, she was the one that was working at the smaller firm, and was identified by the headhunter as somebody who was an up and comer and really doing well at her job. And so she was performing very well, and especially under the kind of circumstances, she didn't have the resources that this big company had. So she was already performing well and what she was doing. So that was good.
Yeah, I was very impressed. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I was very impressed because Sonia, she has little children, and even with that situation, she was able to open international business. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say too, she's probably gonna be the most used to the culture of
Yeah.
the company. Just because she's coming from a smaller firm, it's not as cutthroat as some of the other places. And the other thought that come to mind too is, from a cost standpoint for the company, she's probably going to be your cheapest hire, where she would probably accept a lower offer than everybody else because she's already making so much less than everybody else. You could offer her less money, but it would still make a huge difference in her life.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense, you could. I
Yeah,
just think
that's a good point.
you could hire her for less money and still be very competitive in what she needs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. When she asks about the salary and Stephen talks about it, she was very impressed because she was not earning, not even close.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I also really like the way that she handled herself, because when she was asking about the company, she didn't immediately jump to money. She was
Right.
asking about the culture and asking about the people,
Resources.
asking about so
Mm-hmm.
that was good.
Mhm.
Good contrast.
Yeah, and then I guess switching to the cons, as much as she's been able to accomplish with her family, it sounded like that would be a barrier at a bigger firm, at least somewhat of one, just because she probably wouldn't be as free as somebody else to go on an emergency call or an emergency meeting, or just kind of always be available like they need you to be.
Yeah. They talked
One
about
of
her. Oh, go ahead.
No, go for it.
I was going to say they talked about her just not being able to make it in the big industry in general because she's used to working with smaller firms, and the bigger industries might run her over.
Yeah.
They weren't sure if she had what it took to work in a big firm.
One of the things she mentioned in the interview was whether she'd be able to work from home a couple times
Yeah.
as well. So, I mean, that's something to consider as well. I don't know if you call that a negative, but I think that's something that she was looking for.
Something I'm looking for.
Right.
If you find it, let me know, man.
All right.
All right. Anything else on Sonia?
I'm trying to remember specific. No, I don't got anything.
All right.
But we're good.
The last person was Seth
Seth.
Gorkum, and he was the one that wasn't picked by the headhunter.
He was called by another headhunter, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think that actually speaks something against him. It does say a lot of glowing things about him, but it went into detail in the beginning and placed a lot of emphasis on how well the headhunter Craig had done. at finding people, and he was the one in the know, and they liked him and agreed with him enough that they put him on retainer. So I feel like if he was really as good as they felt like he was, he would have either known about this person or had already identified him as somebody they didn't want.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was curious. I wondered why they never asked, or if they ever asked him about Seth specifically, because he might have been able to offer some insight there.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that. I thought it was super interesting that the headhunter never brought him up, and that he was the company was approached by like a job hunter for him. I thought that was super interesting, just because I mean on the ranking sheet he was number 5. Said he was runner up, so I guess. And 4th looks like it's runner up as well. So I guess like top tier is 1, 2, and 3. That must be what I assume like makes someone a star, is being up there in those rankings. But I mean, he's 5th, and Gerald Baum, the guy he's interviewed with, was 11. David Hughes was number 2. Peter was 3. So I mean, he's not that far down on the list. He's like up there. So
Right.
I found it super interesting that he was never brought up. It makes me wonder if, I mean, I don't know over what time period this all happened. It sounded like the higher ups in the company wanted someone hired quickly, but I wondered if it was possible the headhunter went out looking for people, and maybe, he came across, these people, and then a few days later, maybe the Seth guy was like, you know what, maybe I want to look for something different. Maybe he wasn't an option at the time, or, maybe there was a reason that he wasn't brought up. Maybe he's got some hidden negatives.
Yeah.
I mean, it almost sounds like Steven kind of had heard his name too. I think I've heard the name tossed around. He's been doing fairly well, hasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
When I heard about this guy, I thought maybe the headhunter, he was getting this guy for another company. Maybe he's working for other companies as well, and maybe they are asking for the same thing.
Oh yeah, maybe the headhunter like had him prepped to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
I never thought of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, might be.
Steven said Seth seemed extremely intelligent. So
yeah, I mean, he obviously knew what he was doing. When he was ranked a runner-up and was moving his way up, I mean, I don't think you do that without knowing what you're doing.
Yeah. Also, in the second interviews, when he came in, said he was extremely enthusiastic, and his enthusiasm was contagious. Like with everyone in the office getting all excited about him. Like, I thought that was pretty cool. And it said Seth had been with his last firm for 15 years, which you can look at as why is he switching now, or maybe he's really committed to what he says he's going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at both sides of the coin.
Yeah.
All right. Anything to add on any of the employees? All right.
Sorry, what was that?
What's that?
So did someone ask a question?
Oh, I just asked if you had any more insight on any of the candidates.
Nope.
All
I think we
right.
covered
So,
it pretty thoroughly.
yeah. So the next step it asks is, who would we hire and why?
David Hughes. I'm
I
just
said
that.
I said Sonia.
I thought Seth.
I was leaning towards Sonia.
same here.
What'd you think, Huber?
I'm thinking maybe Sonia or Rita.
Sonia or who?
The first lady, what's her name? Rita?
Rena.
Oh,
Rena. Yeah, Rena.
Yeah.
She already knows the culture of the company.
Yeah.
And she
yeah,
has,
she
you know,
does.
a lot of potential to go to climb.
So in my my write up, I made the argument that they should hire Sonia because of a couple of things. One, she was focused on the female atmosphere, and those two could work together. They don't need to get rid of Rena, but I feel like they could either put them in as like co-analysts or something, because one of them's got the know-how, the other one knows the culture. They just, I don't know, it seems like they'd be a good fit working together.
Yeah.
As a team.
Good point. Yeah.
I don't
Makes
know, and
sense,
this might just be my personal thoughts, but I almost think it's a lot easier to hire someone who fits into your culture and kind of help them learn their job, even though she's obviously got the skills to learn it. So I think based solely on the culture, I mean, if you hired a guy like Gerald or something like that, he obviously doesn't fit into your culture, so he's not going to last long, period, even if he can do the job. I think you
Yeah.
need someone who's going to fit in and accept the culture and then go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
I will say Gerald was my last option.
Me too.
Yeah. So am I.
All right. So, have any of you guys taken a look at the salary information?
Is that an exhibit or is that like an extra link in the discussion page?
It's extra link.
Oh,
So I've got the info here, though. I can go over it real quick.
okay.
I think I can actually see it on my screen.
One of the things, we'll start at the bottom. So Rena, it says her current salary is 0.3 million. And if they were to keep her there, she would stay at the same salary of 0.3 million. Next up would
Did you
be
say
Sonia.
Sorry, did you say
0.3.
0.3 million?
0.3, so 300,000.
300,000. Okay.
Yeah, 300,000. Next up would be Sonia, who her current salary is 400,000. Her salary at RSH, it says including a raise, would be 700,000.
Oh wait, so Rena is currently making 300,000.
Yeah.
300? Wow.
Oh, that is great for a junior analyst in my mind. Holy smokes!
Right.
For a small company. Come on.
So for Sonia, she'd be getting a pretty good raise there, going from 400 to 700,000. The next step would be Seth, whose current salary is 700, and his salary at RSH, including a raise, would be 1 million.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're starting to get up there in some salaries.
These are some good salaries. Maybe I ought to rethink my life choices.
I think you need to go to Stanford to get an MBA to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Next up on the list is Gerald. His current salary is 0.9 million, so 900,000, and his salary at RHS would be 1.2 million. So pretty impressive. And the last one on the list is David, whose current salary is 1.3 million. His salary at RSH would be 1.5 million.
Wow.
What did you say? So Rena, what was her raise gonna be?
Nothing.
So she'd go from being a junior analyst to senior on something and not get a raise.
Pretty much.
Oh, I wouldn't do that if I were.
That's not a good deal.
No,
Right.
it's a bad return on investment.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So after realizing the salaries of the employees, it asks if we would change who we would hire.
I'm sticking with Sonia.
Yeah. The way I look at it is they could have Sonia and Rena both for the same as what they would have any of the other analysts for.
Right.
Well, less.
Even less than some of the others, yeah. So, yeah.
So it looks like I was right. Just kidding.
Yeah, I was right. And I even cited the reason.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, let's see. All right, so the next question it asks is, should Steven give Rena a permanent offer or should he hire outside the company? I think we've already pretty much established that. I think we all agree
Yeah.
that Sonia would be a better bet. And I think he could even offer her, to stay where she's at. Pay-wise, she would always have the potential down the road to move up.
Yep.
So the next question is, should Steven have let Peter go?
If he didn't, what would we study?
Right?
Yeah, he didn't want to be there, so
What did it give Peter's salary information?
No.
It didn't. But one of the things that kind of surprised me as I was reading is it talked about how after Peter told everyone that he had an offer somewhere else and he was going to leave, they went back and reviewed and pretty much saw that they could offer him more money.
yeah, but they didn't.
Right,
Well,
they didn't.
Yeah,
I think.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go for it.
I was gonna say how long did it sounded like the guy Tom, the analyst from the other department, told Steven that Peter was thinking about leaving, and I
Yeah,
don't know. To me, I was like, that should have given you plenty of time if he's your star analyst.
yeah,
Right.
that's what I
think
thought
you
too.
do something to prevent it.
I mean, you'd think if they
'Cause
have the money there that they would have taken some initiative to keep him if he was that good.
True. And I mean, what you don't see in those salaries is even though the person is still in the industry, I mean, they're still training, there's still all kinds of costs with hiring a new employee. I mean, every business class I've ever been in says it's always cheaper to keep old employees than it is to hire and train new ones.
Right.
Right.
So cost-wise, yeah, it probably would have been a better idea for him to keep Peter around and just offer him a little bit more money. But
Yeah, they could have at least offered. I mean,
Need an offer,
whether he
yeah.
stayed or not, but
Yeah.
Yep. But then again, it also sounds like they don't deal with this problem very often. So who knows? Maybe Steven had no idea what to do.
Right. It did kind of seem like they were really surprised when he left and didn't know how to handle it.
Yeah.
All right. So, does anyone else have anything to add on Peter's portion?
No.
So, the next
Where'd
one
Alex go?
looks like we lost him.
Yeah, you might want to send him. He just called me. I'm not sure.
Oh, really?
That was who was calling me. I don't know if you could hear that, but
Mm-mm.
yeah, maybe send Alex that invite again.
okay, I sent it to him.
Okay, thanks. There he is.
Did I get kicked out, or did the whole?
Looks like
I'm like sitting here like, what the heck happened? It said
That happened to me.
I wasn't sure if like the call ended or like what went on. I was like, huh? Sorry, guys.
No, you're good. So the next question that it asked is, it said, should Steven have talked with the recruiter to ask about Seth? So one of the things we kind of went over a little bit was why Seth hadn't been brought up by the recruiter.
Oh, I think we already talked about that, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it probably would have been in the best interest for him to talk to him, but
I agree.
yeah.
I think that's part of just good screening or
Yeah.
vetting. Just you got to talk to him about it at least.
Right. Try to find out why he wasn't on the list.
It seems like there's a lot of things that are free or cheaper or easy things that they could have done to make it just that much better, this whole process, but they just failed to do the little things.
That's why Wall Street needed a bailout.
Yeah. All right. So the next question says, does the performance at one firm guarantee high performance at another firm?
No. I feel like it's a good indicator, but different firms have different environments.
Yeah, there's too many
And
variables.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you never know how an employee is going to mesh with the rest of the people working there or with the higher management until they actually start working together. So
Yeah.
it could go either way. I mean, I think as far as the knowledge base goes, they're going to keep, they'll bring that with them. But as far as applying it and having the clientele, that could be different.
Yeah. I mean, Gerald, for example, I mean, he might still do well, but he might make others in the office perform poorly just because he seemed like a butt.
Right.
I mean,
Well, I think it says a lot too when you have who are they, the research analyst and the assistant or whatever, the two people that wouldn't come over with him if he left. I think that speaks volumes.
yeah, no kidding. I completely agree.
So yeah, I mean, like you said, just in citing Gerald specifically, I don't think it matters where he goes. He's probably going to perform at a high level, but what's his overall effect on the company going to be?
Yeah.
All right. So the last thing that it brings up is to discuss the types of human capital. So we had that little one-page thing to read about it. Let's see.
So based on that, there's a lot like that seems kind of portable that would transfer with these people. I mean, because that's really what they were just asking about in the last question was how well does it transfer? So like the general human capital, like their ability to or work hard, that kind of thing, that transfers. And then it talks, more about strategic and industry and all the way down as the company specific, but I don't think that's really what they really need to transfer. So it's just interesting. Based on this little thing, it looks like most of what they need should transfer.
Right. All right. Does anyone else have anything to add on that?
Hello?
Hey there?
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Does anyone else have anything to add on the that portion of it, human capital.
I don't.
I think Scott pretty much covered it pretty well.
Good job, Scott.
So
Yep.
that is it for the discussion this week. I think we went over each of the candidates well and decided who we would hire and which would be the best fit for the company. So that's all that it asks of us. So appreciate you guys taking the time to meet up tonight and go over this.
Do we have a meeting next week too? Do we have a case study? I haven't even looked yet. Probably.
So.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I think so, until week 11.
Yeah. Do we know who's going to be in charge next week?
So on the schedule, we had me, but Josh wasn't here during his week,
Yep.
and then Uber wasn't ever even added to our list. So
Yeah.
if either one of you could take it, that'd be fantastic.
Cool. What do you think, Uber?
Yes, I think I can do it next week.
Yeah, just kind of leave the discussion. And then I can do the week after that.
Okay.
Okay, no problem. When are we gonna meet?
You guys want to go back to Saturday, or do you want to keep it Thursday night?
Thursday night is good for me.
Thursdays work for me too.
Okay.
Yeah, they're fine with me. It's mostly you, Alex.
For everyone.
Alex,
about
you're the
this?
one that has a group meeting, right? Alex,
Sorry.
Thursday for me as well.
it's good for you? So are we meeting Thursday?
Yeah,
I'd say, yeah. Thursday, same time, 8 o'clock Mountain.
Sounds good to me.
yeah, it works for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right.
Hopefully you
Well,
heard that, Alex.
yeah. We can always email each other if something changes.
Works.
So.
That's true. Cool.
All right.
right,
Well,
guys.
thank you, everyone.
Have a good Memorial Day weekend.
You too.
Nice to meet with you guys. See you next week.
All right. Scott, thanks for recording this today.
Yeah.
No.
Yep.
Appreciate it.